Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I wanted to make a quick video about Bitcoin and Litecoin and specifically what makes them different. Since these two coins are two of the first cryptos ever made, I wanted to talk about the difference between them. So of course you could always search up what's the difference between Bitcoin and Litecoin and you'll get many results, but today we're going to cover a Kraken's guide here. So in the morning of February 13th, Kraken tweeted out a guide of comparison of Bitcoin and Litecoin, and I had a read of it and I thought it was really helpful. So normally when I start my videos, I start off at CoinMarketCap and talk about the overall crypto market and where sentiment's at, but really nothing has changed since my last video. We're still at around 42K for Bitcoin, so we're testing out that support level now. And especially with everything that's going on in the world right now, especially with these rate hikes, no one can really predict what can happen. You can use technical analysis to kind of guide you, but in the end of the day, I feel dollar cost averaging into projects you believe in is your best bet. In this channel, I'll never try to add any hype or sensationalism, or at least keep it at a minimum if I do. I really just want to present the facts and data and have you guys interpret it the way that you can so you can make financial decisions that are best for you. So before we get into the guide, I just wanted to see here that the comparison of the Bitcoin and Litecoin all charts. So of course, Bitcoin was the first ever cryptocurrency ever made. It was made in January of 2009 in response directly to the market crisis during that time. And then Litecoin came around a couple of years later. So here we have the two all charts back to back. So right away from the chart, you can tell that Bitcoin has a healthier look than Litecoin. Litecoin has these huge, peaks and then dips. And right now it's not looking too impressive. Although, like I said, it's one of the oldest cryptos and right now it's at rank 20. Now you can interpret that however you want. Some people will say, oh man, it's rank 20 and it's one of the oldest. Well, clearly it's just going to keep going down over time. But other people might say, oh, it's that old and it's still held up at rank number 20. That's great. So it really depends on what perspective you want to take. And I'm not too sure if I lean one way or the other, but I will say time is a great indicator of project strength, especially in crypto. Over time, most projects will die. Most projects will not live on and they'll just be obsolete. So Litecoin has a pretty decent case for it. So here we are in the Kraken guide, Litecoin versus Bitcoin. I'll have this guide and the tweet that link the guide in the description if you want to check it out for the full thing, but we'll be covering the key points of it. So here it starts off by saying Litecoin and Bitcoin are two of the most popular cryptocurrencies, definitely two of the oldest. In fact, Litecoin has been referred to as silver to Bitcoin's gold. So that's a pretty common tagline you'll hear with Litecoin. All right, so now let's take a deeper dive into the difference between Litecoin and Bitcoin. So Litecoin copied and modified Bitcoin's code with the aim to finalize transactions faster and to pioneer new features before they go live on Bitcoin. And of course, Bitcoin, the OG, was created as a response to government monetary manipulation, and it seeks to serve as an alternative to traditional government currencies. All right, so now let's get started with the tabs here. The first one is date founded, Litecoin, October 7th, 2011. And Bitcoin, the white paper was published on October 31st, 2008, and the software later went live on January 9th, 2009. Now the creator, everyone's favorite part about Bitcoin, right? Litecoin was founded by Charlie Lee, while Bitcoin, of course, was created by a pseudo-alias individual or group under the name Satoshi Nakamoto. To this day, Bitcoin's creator remains unknown. So a lot of Bitcoin people, Bitcoin maximalists, or just Bitcoin fans who aren't necessarily maximalists, they love this. I know I do. It's amazing that somebody or a group of people created Bitcoin and they didn't want to take control. Nobody knows who it is. It's truly for the people. Now the ticker symbol is, pretty self-explanatory. Litecoin is LTC, Bitcoin is BTC, but you may note BTC appears as XBT on other platforms. And now for the vision, Litecoin was created with the intention to attract merchants who were looking for a quicker way to process transactions. So to achieve this, as stated before, Litecoin copied the Bitcoin code and modified it. Litecoin would later on pioneer new features like the Lightning Network and segregated witness, cutting-edge technologies now live on Bitcoin. And another key takeaway here, it's seen as a complement to Bitcoin by serving as a sort of testnet for new Bitcoin features. And now for the Bible of Bitcoin itself, it's an open source software that allows its global user base to manage a digital money supply outside the control of any government or central bank. It's completely decentralized. In fact, the first mine blocked contained a message, The Times, 03 January 2009, Chancellor on brink of a second bailout for banks. A message many believe signifies the project's revolutionary intent. So the Bitcoin software enables the computers running it to manage a ledger, the blockchain, that accounts for all transactions made using its currency, BTC, by enforcing rules. So the Bitcoin blockchain is a full record of the network's transaction history validated by nodes or individuals running its software. This ensures that each BTC cannot be copied or modified, and that Bitcoins cannot be created or used in a way that is against the rules. There's no double spending. Bitcoins are scarce, divisible, and transferable, making them a valuable alternative money. So since being launched, Litecoin has been closely associated with the founder, Charlie Lee, and he was a computer scientist who previously worked for Google. And Charlie Lee now serves as the managing director of the Litecoin Foundation, a nonprofit dedicated to the project. As for Bitcoin, its white paper titled Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system, was released by Satoshi Nakamoto himself in 2008. And I can't state enough how important that is. That was when blockchain was truly invented by somebody who remains unknown. The first 50 Bitcoins were mined upon the release of the software, enabling a decentralized network of computers to run a digital economy that is still thriving today. Satoshi famously left the project in 2011 and hasn't been heard of since, though you can find out more about his or her attitudes toward the technology in various emails and forum posts. Since then, hundreds of developers have contributed to improving Bitcoin's code, whether it is routine bug fixes or great efficiency-driven improvements. Now for network design, Litecoin essentially wants to be a cheaper and faster version of Bitcoin. Litecoin keeps its network secure and decentralized while regulating the supply of new money that gets released into its economy using proof-of-work mining, where miners race to complete cryptographic puzzles to propose blocks that make up the Litecoin blockchain. And of course, the proof-of-work consensus mechanism was actually originally done by Bitcoin. I'm not too sure why Litecoin's first. I really feel like the guide should switch Litecoin and Bitcoin, but regardless, let's keep going. So Litecoin differs from Bitcoin in that blocks are added to its blockchain roughly every 2.5 minutes, and Bitcoin is every 10 minutes. And now for Bitcoin, central to Bitcoin's design is the ability for two users to send each other BTC from anywhere around the world without the need for an intermediary. So of course, that's the whole concept of decentralization. There's no third party that needs to check on, whether or not the transaction was valid or not. So in order to keep its network secure and decentralized while regulating the supply of new money that gets released into its economy, Bitcoin uses what's called mining. And again, just like Litecoin, they use the proof-of-work consensus. So miners race to complete, the puzzles to propose blocks that are made up on the blockchain of Bitcoin. So nothing new there, but the Bitcoin blockchain was the original blockchain. And when a block is discovered by a miner, it is announced to the network, and when it's verified by every node, the miner gets compensated in newly minted BTC. And now for monetary policy, Litecoin's cryptocurrency LTC has a limited maximum supply, meaning that according to the software's rules, there will only ever be 84 million. Through this process, more than 66 million Litecoin have been made available as of 2020. The last Litecoin is projected to be mined in 2142. And Bitcoin, one of the biggest value propositions of Bitcoin is its monetary policy. Only 21 million Bitcoin will ever be introduced into the network's economy. When the first block was mined in 2009, 50 Bitcoin were released, a block reward that is cut in half roughly every 4 years. This event is known as the halving, or halvening. Through this process, more than 18 million Bitcoin have been made available as of 2020. The last Bitcoin is projected to be mined in 2140. So to conclude, let's conclude the last few paragraphs here. There will only ever be 84 million Litecoin. There will only ever be 21 million Bitcoin. The last Litecoin will be mined in 2142. The last Bitcoin will be mined in 2140. And there you have it, guys. Litecoin versus Bitcoin. I'll have this link down in the description if you want to check it out for yourself. Whether or not you're a fan of Litecoin or not, it's really impressive how it was one of the first ever cryptos. It's considered to be the silver to Bitcoin's gold, and it really is a part of blockchain history. So with all that being said, guys, I'd like to thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great day.